All right, Kevin Sinclair from Slap the Sign talking some Notre Dame football. We're taking you through position by position, and we're stopping at a crucial spot for any football team because it doesn't happen with the wide receivers and the running backs unless you've got the offensive line. And offensive production, generally not an issue with Notre Dame. That wasn't most of the issues last season. So the offensive line definitely solid last year, but could be even better in coming years, Kevin, because there's just a slew of talent in camp at Notre Dame.
Yeah, there really is. I believe there's 8 former high school All-Americans there. Last season, the Notre Dame offensive line had some tough times with cohesion. They were breaking in 3 new starters. They had lost Steve Elmer, Nick Martin, Ronnie Stanley from the year before. Also, Mike McGlinchy made the switch from right tackle to left tackle, and he didn't look all that comfortable. He had a lot of false starts. You sort of lacked that cohesion that you really need on that offensive line. Also, Sam Musper at center had a few problems with snaps, but individually, they're all really good offensive linemen. There's just some of those intangibles they had problems with. This year, they had all 5 starters returning, but Colin McGovern is transferring out. There's some really talented sophomores in Liam Eichenberg and Tommy Kramer that will be there to fill in those roles, as well as a slew of other offensive linemen that could definitely be starter potential type guys. What's going on? There's a little bit of talk about Alex Bars at right tackle, that he might be more suited to play the right guard position. If that were to happen, I could very well see Liam Eichenberg taking over at right tackle. He was one of the best offensive linemen in the country, All-American, coming out of high school. He's a real big kid, long arm, 6'6". I see if that doesn't happen and Bars stays at right tackle, that'll open up the right guard spot, where I could very well see Tommy Kramer getting that spot. Kramer is more of a tackle in high school, but I think he projects better at guard at the college level. That's not to say he couldn't play tackle. I think he'd be really good there as well. He was, I believe, 5-star, had a 5-star ranking with some services. So I think that if Bars stays at right tackle, Kramer will likely get that job. There's also Tristan Hodge. He was a 5-star center coming out of high school. Don't think he's going to win the job over Mustapher this year. He'll be fighting for the right guard spot. So they've got some real good candidates to fill that spot. And I think no matter how it goes, they're going to end up having a really good offensive line this year. There's also some talk about them not quite getting the push. They have the new strength and conditioning staff there. They're working out hard. They're training hard. I think all those small things are going to come together and produce Notre Dame a really good offensive line in 17.
Hey, Kevin, there's a couple of early enrollees that you're definitely aware of and have probably talked to at some point down the line, or at least definitely analyzed on tape. Robert Hainsey, a top 5 guard out of Florida, one of the 15 best prospects out of the state of Florida, and we know what that means. Aaron Banks, a top 20 offensive tackle and the 17th ranked player in California. Also, although he's not on campus and won't be on campus until July or August, Josh Lugg, a top 15 player at his position. Any chance that these guys could work into the rotation?
Well, that's a real good question. I think that at a lot of schools, if you took those 4 freshmen that they're going to have this year, if you put them at Pitt or Wake Forest, a school like that, they'd probably be starting. Aaron Banks is 6'5", 320, so he certainly fits the bill. Josh Lugg, 6'7", 300. I mean, they have the size, and they're great offensive linemen, but I just don't see it happening this year unless something really crazy happened with injuries. Something like really, really severe would have to happen for them to play. Aaron Banks and Robert Hainsey are already at Notre Dame. Banks was 345 pounds at one point, and he's dropped all the way down to 320, so I think that shows that he's a real hard worker in that. They got the books to get into Notre Dame, smart kids, hard workers. Robert Hainsey was at IMG Academy, played left tackle, and he was going up against, Robert Beal and Josh Kando, the 2 5-star DNs all year in practice. He's going to be a dynamite player. He was listed at 275, but at Under Armour All-American, he tipped the scales at 295. So I think he's going to be a real dynamite player. He projects more at guard at this level, but unfortunately, it seems like no matter how good you are as a freshman offensive lineman at Notre Dame, you're not going to be playing your first year.
When you mention those guys probably being able to start at places like Pitt or Wake Forest, and I know you're just kind of plucking a couple out of the air, they could probably stay right there in state. And there's a couple Big Ten schools that could probably use them along the offensive front in 2017, talking about IU and Purdue. Definitely the difficulty there, aside from quarterback, as you well know, in playing football and analyzing the tape, is that there's just a huge learning curve along the offensive front. Those are some of your smartest players that have to play along the offensive line, and there is a ton to process mentally for those guys to be able to step on campus and do that right away at that level is a difficult task.
Yes, absolutely. You know, the playbook. You often get kids coming out of high school, a really good offensive lineman, but they were really good at one thing. Sometimes they're really good run blockers because they came from a school that ran an option or a power running offense. Sometimes you get kids that are just really good pass blockers, and then a lot of times you get kids that were really good because they were 300 pounds. When they get up to the college level, every offensive lineman is 300 pounds, and their size doesn't matter so much anymore. There's different variables for offensive linemen. There's a lot more to it than people.
Kevin Sinclair from Slap the Sign joins us on a regular basis to talk Notre Dame football, and of course the Irish headed toward spring camp. Kevin, before we let you go, would like to hear what you have in store for folks who join you on Slap the Sign, because you've been all over the place in regards to tracking down these recruits and writing a ton of good stuff.
Yeah, on Slap the Sign, I've been interviewing a lot of recruits that Notre Dame is after. Basically posting a lot of film breakdowns to get their huddle film and break down the different skills that they have. And a lot of times, pretty much every day, I'm getting a different recruit on the phone and posting interviews with them, kind of seeing how their recruitment's going, which way they might be leaning, when they might be visiting, different factors like that.
All right, Kevin, I'm better educated from just sitting here listening. So you got us all set for spring practice in 2017. So we appreciate it.
Yeah, always love being on your show anytime, Mark.